Hey there. This is Beth Hovis, and I am with Sweet Urban Living, and I have a coaching called Roots to Results, where we are trying to help you, the practitioner, get to the root issues so that you can grow your business. And today we're going to talk about why most or many wellness practitioners get stuck and how to get unstuck. So, if you've been having a hard time, if you're a natural wellness practitioner and you are saying to me, hey, Beth, yeah, I got into the natural health industry because I either wanted to help myself with a health issue or a loved one with a health issue or something like that, and you are now wanting to help others outside of the family build a business, and you're just going, I just don't know what to do. I try some things and this works or that works, this doesn't work, and I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. Well, this live is for you. So, because you're not alone. We see a lot of brilliant practitioners, those who really know their stuff, get started the in the business trying to help and reach clients. And when that happens, then it's hard. It's you've got to build a business. So a lot of times people go to get into training. We get into natural health, like I said, to help our loved ones. We're doing this to help our loved ones and or ourselves. We're dealing with this severe health issue, something like that. And we then go, you know what, let me get some training, let's get some formal education. And some people do it just for their family. I've had a lot of students who said, I'm just doing this for my family. And then after they get into it for a while, they're like, oh, yeah, now I'm doing this for me. I'm doing it for a business. And so there are a lot of times that, people get started in one thing and they don't ever have the intention of really starting a business. And a lot of times our training doesn't actually include it doesn't include business training. So if that's you, maybe that's you, and you're telling me, hey, I need some help getting unstuck. This is for you. You're not alone. There are a lot of people who haven't been shown how to build a business doing what they love to do. So today we're going to look at why most wellness practitioners get stuck, stay stuck, and what you can do to get unstuck. And at the end, I'll share how to get the free worksheet inside our Facebook group so you can start mapping this out for yourself. So first, I just want to kind of go through a few things that get us stuck. So first, it's identity confusion. If you can't clearly say who you help and the transformation and the results that those people can expect to get, that can cause a problem with being stuck. If you just kind of have some kind of I'm a natural wellness practitioner. Hey, Beth, I am. Hello from Oklahoma. It's so funny because I'm like, hey, Beth from Oklahoma. I'm Beth from Georgia. Um, but anyway, I'm glad you're here. And please feel free to leave comments in the chat. Say hello as you're coming in. I love the interaction. That to me, that makes it even more fabulous. So, but the first thing is identity confusion. If you don't know who you are and who you're helping and the transformation that you're helping these people get, it can be really hard. Hey, Rebecca. Oh, one of your cats is determined to say hello. Hello to your kitty cat. I love cats. Um, so, okay, so back to my thought of if you can't explain who you are, what you do, and how the people you are helping are going to experience a transformation, then that can cause confusion and they don't know what to do. They don't step up and go, hey, that person can help me. Let me get help from them. So we want to make sure that we're clear on our identity. The next thing that a lot of people experience in getting stuck is they're not consistent in their marketing. So how many of y'all, I got two people with me so far, but who here actually does some kind of marketing of any kind: emails, social media, postcards, follow-up phone calls, anything to keep your name out there, to keep people aware of what you're doing. Does anybody do that? And if you do, are you consistent about it? Because it's not about being like everywhere. You know, sometimes it's, you can just do something once a week and that's consistent. Sometimes you can reach out every 2 weeks and that's consistent. And if for you it's just, you're just saying once a month is all I can do to be consistent, that's fine too. But it's like you've got to show up consistently, because you've got to be steady where people are concerned. People, that we want to see that email shows up from that particular company once a week or once a month. And if we don't want, this is one of those things too, that some people are like, well, they may not like what I have to say. I don't want to bother them. Well, one of the things that I have found is that if I like a company, even if I don't buy from them or get their services all the time, if I do it often enough, I don't unsubscribe. I might delete their emails. I might not even click them open every time, but I see them and then they're there in front of my face. And when I need whatever it is that they have to offer, I go, oh yeah, I remember that person or that company or that whatever it is. They reached out to me. Now I need their services. And a lot of times I can go back and I can find in their email where I've either not deleted it, or if I have deleted it, I can go back into the trash and pull it back up and just go, oh yeah, that's the information I needed. So it's not about bothering people. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to be consistent and steady so that when people do need us, they know how to find us. Another thing that keeps people kind of stuck sometimes and not moving forward and growing their business is they are doing it alone. They don't have, and even if you're a solo practitioner, because a lot of us are solo practitioners, we don't really have employees, may not ever get to the point. Some of you are going to have businesses where you need employees, and some of you are going to have businesses where it's just you being a solo entrepreneur, but you're still not doing it alone. You still need accountability. You still need feedback from someone. You still need systems that help support you. So when you are in a place of isolation, that's what can kill your business, is because if you're alone, you're not able to get the feedback. You're not having someone go, hey, that's a great idea, or you might want to tweak it this way just a little bit. So that can be a little bit of an issue. And then you may not even realize that there are other systems or other ways of doing things that you can do, that you can implement, that can help make your business better. So another thing that we deal with, and this I think is one of the main issues for the wellness practitioner, honestly, is dealing with money. There's some kind of fear when it comes to how much do I charge? What if I'm charging too much? Hey, what if you're not charging enough? But we're afraid to charge. We're afraid that that their clients aren't going to see the value in what we're doing, and they're not going to want to pay. And when that's reinforced, when you have something that happens and your clients that you have had before are like, wow, that's really expensive, it makes us shrink back a lot of times. And I don't think people really realize what they're doing and what they're saying. I was working with one of my coaching clients just this week, and she spends so much time doing research, which is commendable and should be done. So don't get me wrong. But she's talking about how one of her clients brings a list of, I think, 7 different prescriptions that she now needs to, the practitioner needs to research to see and make sure if there are any contraindications with any of the supplements or herbals or anything like that she might be recommending. Then she also has someone who sends her lab work that she wants her to review. And I'm like, and you're only charging for the consultation. You're not charging for the time that you're spending doing the research. And it was like she had this aha moment of how valuable her time is that she's spending doing the research. And we talked about how, last week I didn't get to do my live because I ended up taking my little Chewini, Indiana, to the vet. We think it is possibly heart related. It wasn't a stroke. There were no stroke markers, so we're thankful for that. But we do want to support her heart. But what was interesting is when I walk in the door, of course, I'm going to be charged the visit fee, whatever it is to visit and see the vet. I'm going to be charged that. And then as I'm sitting there talking to the vet and they're thinking and going, okay, well, these are the kinds of things that we may need to do. In addition, it's like, okay, well, there's blood work and we may need to do x-rays. And then we need to do a glucose test to make sure it wasn't her blood sugar. And then we need to do, and they're naming all of these different things that they need to do to make sure, to do their research, to study. And it's like, they did not charge me only the vet visit. They did not charge me just that 1 hour, whatever. I'm not, because we typically do 1 hour consultations. They charged me for all the different services. And the same thing when you go to a medical doctor. Yes, you have the fee for the medical visit, but if they run tests, they charge you for these additional things. And we are okay with that when it comes to our animals, and we're okay with that when we go to the medical doctor. But for us as natural wellness practitioners, it's almost like that's a no-no, that we are supposed to do everything that we are doing for our clients for that 1 hour charge. And we're spending, many of us spend 3 or 4 hours if we're diligent. Not every time. It's not every time. So we came up with a way where we could just say, you know what? Have a research fee. Have a fee that's written in your menu kind of thing of when I do research. If I do something for someone that's outside of the consultation time and I have to spend extra time, charge 2 hours. And then say, if I spend less time, if it takes me an hour instead of 2, then that time will be credited to your next thing. So there are a lot of things that come along with the fear. Or what about I live in a town where it's not, the economics are not very good and people aren't willing to pay. And then we talk about how it was so funny, and that this may have been in iridology class this week that I'm having, where we were talking about juicing and how beneficial juicing is and how expensive if you buy the really good already juiced for you juices. Like we have a place called Arden's Gardens here in Atlanta, and they do fresh juicing, and there's no preservatives, there's no crap, there's all that great stuff in it. And so, but how expensive it is. And then but ironically, the line around the Starbucks is just wrapped around with people paying $5, $6, $8, $10 for something that's harmful. And yet we're kind of like very sheepish of going, hey, have you thought about doing something that expensive for your health? Oh no, that's too expensive. So we have this situation where we're afraid to speak up for ourselves. We're afraid to have this professional of, no, this is what it costs to be healthy. Have you thought about that? This is what it costs to be healthy. We're willing, have we been willing to say to our clients, and I don't know that I would say this like bluntly, like, well, you're willing to pay to be sick. Are you willing to pay to be healthy? But that's basically what we're saying is, are you willing to pay that hard-earned money to feel as good as you feel bad spending that money on things that make you feel bad? So that can be something that we have an issue with. And we've talked in past YouTubes, we've talked about our value. We've talked about how our value, we have to look at ourselves and our experience, our credentials, everything, the training that we've been through, the education that we've received, and how valuable it is. And your value doesn't really come from how it doesn't come at all from how visible you are. Your value doesn't even come from your education and your experience, except for how it transforms people's lives. And that's what we're looking at, is how can we help our clients live a healthy, transformed life? That's what they're after. So if those are the traps that we frequently fall into, what are some of the solutions? What can we start doing to get unstuck? So I realize I've still only got 2 watching with me right now live, but if there's something here that you're going, yeah, was it identity confusion? Is it inconsistent marketing? Are you doing it alone when you really need a team? You need feedback. You need somebody to help speak into your life. Or is it, like fear? And if you're watching this afterwards, still drop a comment and let me know, what is it that is keeping you stuck that we may need to say, hey, let's work on that to get you unstuck. So here I've got a little mini plan of getting unstuck. And because my coaching is roots to results coaching, we did a little play on words, and we're going to call this roots, water, and sunlight. So I want to think about this in the roots. First and foremost, our roots is getting our message clear. So who exactly do you help? When we get into our roots to results coaching, we get into it and we're like, who is your niche market? What is your mission? How are you helping them? So right now, we just want to do a little tip of the iceberg and say, who are you helping? Who exactly do you help, and what problem do you solve? And say it in one sentence. I help blank who struggle with blank so they can get whatever results, so they can blank. So we got that? I help blank who struggle with blank so they can get blank whatever results that transformation that we're talking about. So when I think about this, for me, I help holistic wellness practitioners who feel stuck or underpaid build thriving income generating businesses. So who do I help? Holistic wellness practitioners. Can I help anybody who is in business? Absolutely, because business planning, business strategies, all of those things are transportable. So when I say to natural wellness practitioners, here's the thing, and even when I taught at Trinity in the classes, we're telling our students, you can help anybody. You can help everyone. But the truth of the matter is, you're not going to help everybody. And you are only going to help certain ones. And you're going to want to make sure that you're helping the ones that your identity, who you are, is going to help them. Who you are is going to help them. So knowing your identity is really key for you to be able to help others. And I'm going to share just a little bit. I've been, okay. So Brenda, hey Brenda, I've been on, couldn't read the chat. How clear does it need to be, and do you need keywords? So yeah, you want it to be, for what we're doing today, just the transformation is, let's do an example for someone who is doing a wellness business. Let's say you're helping women who have hormone issues. So what you would say is, I help women and you can do an age range, you can do whatever, I help women who have hormone imbalances. So that's kind of broad. But if you can say, I help women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are dealing with or struggle is a much more powerful word than dealing with, who struggle with menopause, weight gain, and, let's throw in hair loss, whatever. But basically, what is it they're struggling with? I help people who struggle with this so they can, what do women who are in menopausal age, who are going through the change, or feeling the hot flashes, who are experiencing weight gain, what do they want? They want to feel like they did in their 20s and 30s. The struggle is they've got all these things happening in their bodies now that they don't know what to do with. And the things that they did before to help feel good, lose weight, go exercise. I'm speaking from experience here. What I used to do would only cause me more pain now that I'm older. It would only cause me to gain weight now that I'm older. So it's like, wow, what am I supposed to do here? So as a natural wellness practitioner helping someone like me, I would be like, I help women going through menopause and who struggle with weight gain so that they can feel good about themselves again and take back their health. And that's it right there for what we need today. If we get into the Roots to Results coaching program, then you're going to get a much more in-depth help with that so that you're really niching in and finding your ideal client. But no matter what, you're still identifying who you are, who your ideal client is, what they struggle with, and how it's going to transform their lives. So can you write that in a sentence? As you're watching this, can you write that in a sentence right now? If you can, let me know. Just say, yeah, I think I can do that. I think I can do that. If you can't, that may be something you need to really sit back and look at what you're doing and look kind of, for me, it's praying and asking God. It's like, who do you say I am, God? Who have you called me to help? Because I really, but no matter what your belief, if you'll just stop and listen of who you are, you will get that identity. Your identity was there from birth. Who you are is there. It shows up in different ways in different seasons of our lives, but who you are is always going to be there. I'm a discoverer of treasure. I'm someone who helps perfect design. So that's why it's like, yeah, let me get in there and help you transform your life and your business by making your business better, helping you find your identity so that your business is better. So if you can, drop that note in the chats. Let me know what you're thinking of. Hey, this is my sentence, or this is a keyword that can help me move forward as I figure out that clarity to your message. Then we want to water. We want to get the water going because we've got to create simple consistency. Pick one platform or pick one way of doing things. Now, we typically say pick a platform because so much time, so many people are on the internet, they are on social media. They check their email every day. They go to Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, or you're with me on YouTube or something like that. You come every day to check what's going on in social media. Now, I do have clients who actually have clients who are in the Amish community and they are not online. So she does it the old-fashioned way with them. She sends postcards to them. She advertises in her local little newspaper that is for services and providers like carpenters or things like that. So she has an ad in that. So whichever way you need to do it and is more comfortable to you, you need to do that. You need to be consistent on that. And that's one of the things that I have found with most wellness practitioners is being on social media feels really uncomfortable and we don't want to do it. We don't want to. A lot of us are like, I don't like Facebook. And believe me, with everything going on in the world today and the chaos and the back and forth bickering and all that, I don't like being on Facebook either because I'm like, I don't necessarily want to see all the negativity. So a lot of times I just get on Facebook real quick, go to my group, see who has messaged me or made a comment or something like that, and then I'm back off, not spending my time just scrolling. But a lot of people do that, or TikTok or things like that. YouTube is a very powerful medium. Maybe you don't want to do what I'm doing, and that's cool too. But most people can get on Facebook and they can share on Facebook. Most people can get on Instagram and share a reel or something like that. But what you want to do is you want to pick one platform and you want to commit to what we call value posting. Post something valuable, post something helpful. And the reason why we want to do something helpful is because we want to serve. Because here's the thing. Yes, we are here we're in business, and businesses need to make money. You need to have an income. You need to generate revenue so that your expenses are covered. And when I say expenses, that is a salary for yourself as well. We've talked about that as well. I really love the Profit First book. I recommend it all the time. But when I'm thinking about giving value, it's serving. It's serving the people, because that's how, think of it this way, and I'm going to get all biblical on y'all again and get all Jesus on you, but we love God because he first loved us. Okay? So we receive love before we give love. Jesus served. He served the disciples. He served all the people he healed. When it was the Last Supper, he got on his knees and he washed their feet. He served. That's even before he went to the cross to serve. And so to receive something from someone, right, we have to receive Jesus serving us. When we received Jesus serving us, we can turn around and serve others. And then when we serve others, when we meet them, and that then it opens the door. It's not just, hey, let me just give you something so I can get something back. It's a heart posture. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to differentiate between, I'm just trying to do something to get something from you, and I'm trying to do something because I'm really serving you. I really want to help you. I want you to see that this little bit of information that is valuable is helpful. Then the other things, if you come to see me as a wellness practitioner, all of these other things are going to be even more valuable. So to be able to offer value is to actually serve your community. And so that's where I'm going. Water your community, serve your community, give them a little bit of something because it makes them hungry for more. Hey, Shannon, I'm glad you made it. Glad you're here today. So that's what I'm saying. If that makes sense to you, would you send me an emoji or something in the chat so that I can see that this is, because when we were on Facebook, you could do the little hearts and the little emojis and things like that. And I knew that it was landing with you. But if that makes sense about giving something valuable, a value added information, value added in order to serve. Yes, thank you. In order to serve, that is where I'm going with that. It's not just a matter of let's do something to manipulate someone's emotions. We've talked about that too, all the way back from the very beginning when we started these lives. I hate manipulation. I don't want to be manipulated, and I don't want to manipulate someone else. So when my heart posture is, when I'm doing this consistent posting on social media or posting on emails, when I send out my emails and I'm like, yes, thank you, Shannon. Yes, I'm glad it makes sense. So when I am sending out these emails, it's like I'm really pouring my heart. It's from a caring situation. I want you to take my iridology class because it's amazing, and you're going to learn so much, and you're going to help other people. I want you to come to Brilliant Health Weekend Away because, oh my goodness, everybody who comes to our Weekend Away events are like, I didn't know that I was going to learn so much, but it was not just knowledge, it was a place and time of relaxing. I went and I received. And I'm like, that's why I'm like, you got to come to the Weekend Away events, because it's not just, hey, get your CEUs. It's let us serve you, let us pamper you, let us get away and relax. And so I pour into even, my social media, my emails and things like that. It's from a place of genuineness of I want to help. And I think that's where, I don't want to harp on this, but it's why I created the Facebook group way back when, and we've evolved and we've grown in identity, and now we're Roots to Results, is because it's like I want to help the wellness practitioner, have a thriving business. And I want you to do it from a place of, thank you, Rebecca. I want you to do it from a place of rest, if that makes sense at all. Not striving. That was one of the things me and the Heavenly Father were having to talk about was he needs to serve me. Where am I not letting him serve me? In accepting his rest. If I'm always trying to make things happen in my own energy and my own strength, I get even more fatigued. But if I'll let him serve me because that's what he says, I've come to give you rest. I'm the good shepherd. I lead you beside the still waters. I restore your soul. It's all these things. And it's like, if I can just rest in him and not strive. So when I'm telling you, hey, let's do some of these things by serving the community and having that value. Let me get to that question in just a second, Shannon. So by having the value added, it needs to be from a place of rest. So ask yourself that question. Which platform feels most natural to you right now? Is it emailing? Is it Facebook? And here's the thing, some people are going to even say, I don't like any of it. I'm uncomfortable with all of it. I don't want to do it. How are you going to get the message out? Ask yourself that question, because it could be just going to your local community and speaking at events. Join the women's business. I forget what they call some of them, but the women's clubs and things like that in your town or in your county, and get to know other business women, get to know the people in your community. Go ask your pastor if you're at a church, can I teach a class? What can you actually do, right, to get the word out? So Beth says, confidence and conviction has really helped me serve out of rest. That's good. It's the energy behind how can I help you? And that's so good. And it's like, Beth, what you're saying is when I'm at rest and I'm at peace, I'm actually serving you with rest and peace. So what that person receives is a gentle, calm, strong energy from you, not a frantic, oh my goodness, look at me, I've got to get this done. And I think sometimes people pick up on that. I need something from you. And so therefore there's this energy that goes with it. But when I'm at rest and I'm just going, hey gosh, the Father's got me and I'm just doing this. I'm sharing this because I just have to, right? It makes a big difference. So Beth says, I do Facebook and Instagram because my audience is a little different. Yeah. And you'll find that you're going to have a different audience on each if you do more than one platform. So Shannon, the CEUs for the Brilliant Health Weekend Away that we're going to have in May of 2026 should be at least I think it's like at least 18 and maybe 16 to 18. 16 to 18 is what we get on those weekends. So all right, so Brenda says, I do Facebook and LinkedIn. They are very different audiences, and she loves the energy on LinkedIn. I do too. LinkedIn is a more professional feel to it. Yeah, Beth, I think Beth is saying yes to serving from rest, and I think that's what she's saying. All right, Rebecca says email feels less threatening in public, so there is that too. How far do we want to stretch ourselves? And that's a really good question, Rebecca. I think sometimes it's like, sometimes we aren't comfortable with something, and there's a time when you go, Is that discomfort that I'm feeling because that's not the way I should go? Or is that discomfort from something is because of fear is keeping me? I'm self-protecting. I'm protecting myself from something that I'm afraid of, and we should not have any fear. I know that's easier said than done. I have to deal with it every single day. But yeah, it's one of those questions where we do have to ask ourselves just how much do we want to let I'm not comfortable with something keeping us from doing something and stretching. That's the word that Rebecca used, and stretching and going beyond what we were comfortable with, because I wasn't comfortable doing YouTube at first, and now I do it and it's like, okay, but I still feel well, what are people going to say? What are people going to think? What if this doesn't happen? What if that? And that's just a lot of lies coming at me, and it's not being in a place of rest. So that's where, when you're looking at watering your audience, watering the people, you're actually serving them by being consistent. And it can just be, again, consistency could be every 2 weeks instead of every week for you, depending on where you are. Once a month is a little hard because we consume the social media information so fast that if you're just doing once a month, that's easy to get lost. You're going to get lost much more easily, but at least every 2 weeks, and if you can do once a week, that's even better. I know that y'all are checking your inboxes going, oh my goodness, there's Sweet Urban Living again, Sweet Urban Living again, there's Sweet Urban Living again. But the thing is I'm like, I have, several things to offer. I've got 4 things that I'm offering. I've got my blogs that I'm writing. I've got my YouTube live that we're doing with our Roots to Results. I've got our weekends away, and I teach iridology. So I'm like, well, there's something always going on, and I can let the fear of what are people going to say, keep me from posting, or I can just go, you know what, that's going to be in their inbox at the right time for the right person. And if they don't want to hear from me, they can hit the unsubscribe button. And that may hurt. We may not like that. I was like, oh, I got to unsubscribe. But the truth of the matter is, that's not my people. They don't need what I'm offering. And I'm better not having them mess up my algorithm by not being there. That's cool. So Brenda says, no, your timing in my inbox is perfect. Awesome. I'm not bugged, and I don't forget you. And that's the point. Because if I have something that I'm sharing and you don't need it right now, you might need it in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, and that's okay. And that's the same thing that we need to think of with our wellness clients, is maybe they don't need that today, or maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're just getting to know you. Maybe they don't have the money. Maybe the struggle isn't big enough yet for them to pull the trigger and take the plunge and go, hey, let me get in on this. But if you're consistent, if you're there for them, if they need you, they will definitely reach out to you. And I'm just going to add, before I move to the last point, the 3 ways to get unstuck, I'm just going to add, make sure you have a call to action. You don't have to have a call to action every single time. And sometimes those calls to action can be just a very gentle, like I do with y'all. Everybody here, I think, that's chatting with me today is part of the Roots to Results coaching group on Facebook. But if you're sitting here and you're watching this and you want to be a part of that, please do. But that's the thing, is I'm just giving a soft call to action. It doesn't have to be something where I'm overpowering and I'm going, you've got to do this, sign up now. Now I do that. Like a deadline's coming up, you're going to miss out on something. I'm going to send that information out. I'm going to send it so that you can get it, so you can not miss the deal or whatever it is. But not every email has to have a strong call to action. But if you don't have clear steps, this is the point that I'm trying to make. If they don't know how to get in touch with you, if you don't say, hey, if you'd like to set up an appointment, just hit reply and send me an email. Or, hey, if you would like to schedule an appointment, here's a link to my calendar. If you're not including that somewhere, sometime, then we don't take the next step. We don't, most people, and I forget the percentage, but it's crazy high of, if you don't give a clear, do this now, click here, or hit reply, or something like that, give me a phone call, text me, or whatever, people don't take the next step. And it's a crazy high percentage. So make sure that when you're sharing information, even if it's not a, hey, you need to book an appointment right now and give me a phone call or whatever it is, that you're giving them the opportunity to reach out to you in some way. Because a lot of people will just not take the next step if it's not clear. So our third thing that we want to do is we want to cultivate and support and accountability. We're going to call this our sunlight. So our first thing is roots, clarify your message. Our next thing is water your garden, create simple consistency. And then we're going to apply some good old sunlight, and we're going to cultivate support and accountability, because we grow faster in the right environment. So if you're watching this, like I said, everybody I'm chatting with right now is already in my Roots to Results group. If you're watching this later and you're going, what the heck is that? There's a link in the show notes you can join. But it's just a community of support. We have people ask questions in the group. I share information in the group. It's a community of support, and in a community, and it doesn't have to be our community. You could be a community of other business owners where you're getting insights and feedback. One of the things I love to do is talk to my husband about business and get his feedback, because sometimes he thinks about something from a totally different viewpoint than how I will look at it. I'm looking at it from, the way I do business, or the way I've always done it, or the way I was taught to do it. And he looks at it from an outsider's point of view. So sometimes that can be very helpful, but having a community is really important, because you get feedback and you can celebrate the wins. When you have something amazing happening in your life, share it. When I see someone post, when I see one of my friends, especially one of my friends in the group, share something amazing that has happened to them, I try to remember to celebrate it in our group. Because it's, when we celebrate the wins, it builds confidence. It makes us take a moment and go, Look at what I did. Look what I accomplished. I was back there and I wasn't doing something. Now look at where I am now. And it encourages others that they can do it too. So who's in your corner right now? If you were to stop and think about this, who would you say is in your corner for you, not just personally, but for your business? And if you don't have a support team, you might want to think about starting with us, because we're a really good support team. So, okay, I'm waiting to see if anybody comments or anything like that, if they want to share who's in their corner right now. So if you're stuck, if you're feeling like I just can't, I'm not getting the momentum, I don't know what to do, then check your roots. Make sure your message is clear. Make sure that when you share that message, that the people know who you're serving. One of the things that we look at, and many times we work on, is that mission statement. A little bit more in depth than what we did. Well, actually, a lot more in depth than what we do right here. But it's like, if you aren't clear in who you're helping, then no one is going to respond, or very few people are going to respond if you're not clear. I help men who deal with prostate issues. I help those who deal with Lyme disease. I help women who want to get pregnant. I help who is it you help? We've talked about that many times. If there are some people here who can immediately say, yeah, those who deal with trauma just tend to come to me. Well, make that clear that you're helping people overcome trauma. Make that clear that you're helping women lose weight, because and make the transformation that they can expect clear. Because what does a woman who has suddenly gained 20 or 30 pounds want? They want to lose the weight. They want to get back into the size 12 or size 10 or size 8 that they were before. They want to be able to feel healthy and young again. So Shannon says, I need to get better at slowing down, taking the time to celebrate and share my wins. So used to being a lone dog only child. Retraining. We're all retraining, Shannon, and that's what we're talking about. So after you check your roots, check your water. Are you showing up consistently? Are you watering your garden consistently? As natural health people, most of us know about herbs. And you got to have an herb. If you have a garden, you got to have water. You got to have sunlight. You got to water consistently or the ground dries up. Yep. So, what about your sunlight? Do you have the support you need? Because sometimes it's the people who are not in the middle of the fray, not in the middle of it, who are just sitting out here going, no, you're really doing a great job. You're doing all that you need to do. You just, you've planted the seeds. You just need to water and then wait for them to come up. Or they may say, hey, have you thought about redoing it? Thinking of it this way, tweaking your message that way. Have you thought about niching down a little bit more? Have you thought about doing systems? Have you thought about charging more? Have you thought about all of these different things? So when those things are healthy, that's when your business will grow naturally. It's the same thing. I loved the little title that we came up with a few weeks back where it was when we did the law of similars, and it was like the same thing. The law of cure that we think of, a little bit of this, a little bit of failure can actually be good. Why? Because in small doses, it trains us and prepares us to overcome and to get back up when the bigger things happen. And then when the bigger things happen, we gain more confidence and we're like, hey, yeah, I can do more. So then when we have that support group and we're flourishing and we're growing, we realize, I don't have to do this alone. Things really are working. Things really are growing. And sometimes we're in a waiting period because when we plant the seed, we don't go out the next day and see the plant growing. It takes a few weeks. And I love having a garden. I go out and I look at it like, oh, look, my little green beans are finally growing. Oh, look, my little peppers are, they're getting taller, because I usually buy pepper plants. I've never tried to grow peppers myself. I always get the plants from seed, that is. But I love it when the little seeds sprout up. But then once they sprout up, we still don't go harvest the green beans, right? We have to wait until they come to full growth. So sometimes we are in a waiting period, and we've got to supply the water and the sunlight. Our roots are good, but we've got to apply the water and the sunlight while we're waiting. And that's exactly what we do. That's what I do in the Roots to Results coaching. And we take these principles, we dive deeper, we dig deeper, we get, firmer and all that kind of stuff. So here's what you can do next. You can join Holistic Wellness Practitioners Coaching and Education Group. That's my Facebook group. And that's where you'll find, I posted about it, so it has the link to this YouTube so you can watch it later, and it has a worksheet. I say for today's session, it was actually dated last week. That would have been the 17th, so 10/17. But it's the workshop worksheet about getting unstuck. And it's just a piece of paper just to remind you and ask you the questions so you can answer those. It's something to get the thoughts going, give you the support maybe to get you going in that area to get unstuck. And if you're ready for deeper support, then message me or comment Roots, and I'll send you details about our Roots to Results coaching program and what we do there. So I really appreciate that you invest this time to join me. I love that you come. I love the chats. Thank you for doing that. It really does make a difference when we chat together. I love seeing it and getting the feedback. We're getting going on YouTube with the chatting for some reason, moving from Facebook to YouTube. We just don't have as many joining so far, but this has been the best. We've gotten several. So thank y'all for being here. And I'll see y'all next week at our next live.